This is Kim Meyer, host of Choose to Rise. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
You're listening to Catch Up, an official news production of Public House Media.
Today is July 1st, 2020, and it's time to catch up on the news that you need to know about.
Today we're helping you catch up on pop culture, sports, and breaking news.
We're your hosts, Madeline Kumm
and Kylie Thompson. Welcome to Catch Up.
Of racial injustices coming to light, Disney has unveiled their contribution and response to it all, changing the theme of one of their staple rides in their Orlando and Anaheim parks. Splash Mountain highlights the 1946 movie, Song of the South, and is getting a refurb and will soon feature Princess Tiana and friends from the movie Princess and the Frog. This comes after years of backlash from the general public, stating that the ride is modeled after a movie that celebrates and defends racism. The movie is not featured on Disney Plus and is hard to find as the movie is not permitted to be sold anywhere. You literally cannot find this movie. So to discuss this topic, we are bringing back your favorite Disney Parks correspondent, Meg Kumm. Meg, how's it going?
Hey, Madeline, it is going.
Great. Well, let's get started because there is so much to unpack here. So, Meg, you grew up with this ride as a highlight of your family vacations. You've worked as a cast member in the parks. So tell me, when you saw this news break, what were your initial thoughts as an annual visitor and a former employee?
Honestly, I was really excited because Princess and the Frog is one of my favorite Disney movies. So getting to see that it's getting an attraction is really exciting. However, it's always kind of sad when an attraction that you grew up with changes. There's just so much nostalgia associated with Splash Mountain and Zippity Doo Dah song playing at the end. So that part's always really sad. But as Walt always said, you know, Disneyland will never be finished. It's always going to be changing and growing. So just something you got to keep in mind.
Absolutely. So, Meg, since a lot of us haven't seen Song of the South because it was pretty much just eradicated from any, actually, no, editor, let's redo that whole sentence. So, Meg, talk to us a little bit about Song of the South because, again, most of us haven't seen it because it is really not available to view anywhere. So tell us about the movie a little bit as much as you know and tell us what actually, if you're in the ride, what's going on.
Yes, so Song of the South was released in 1946. It's been controversial since its release, and it's never been released on home video in the U.S. It has been released on home video in Europe and Asia. So there's kind of two aspects to the film. There's some live action where character Uncle Remus basically tells stories throughout this movie to a few young children. And those stories are animated and they feature Brer Rabbit, Brer Fox, and Brer Bear. And those are the characters that you'll see throughout the Splash Mountain attraction. So it's not so much that the characters featured in Splash Mountain are problematic. It's that the source material, the movie as a whole, is problematic.
Great. So now moving on to the retheme, can you just tell us what we're supposed to be expecting and maybe walk us through some details that you might know?
Yes. So not a whole lot of concept art has been released yet. But what we do know is that the ride path is expected to stay the same. So the thrills that you're used to will still be there. It's just a retheme. Charita Carter is the head of creation. She's the Imagineer in charge for this attraction. She recently finished with redoing Great Movie Ride and changing it to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. That opened up just before the COVID pandemic hit, and it had really good reviews. Legendary former Imagineer Tony Baxter will be consulting on this project, and he actually was part of the team to build Splash Mountain. Originally, it was his idea. So the ride that you love will still be there. It is just getting a much-needed update.
Right, and as exciting as this is, with change, there always does come controversy. I know when I saw this breaking on Twitter, it was trending, and there was a lot of mixed emotions. Some people really excited, some people sad for the nostalgic factor. But as the ride is very close to many people's hearts, people are saying that retheming the ride, pretending like Song of the South was never released, is more detrimental than Disney just taking responsibility for it. And I know in our current climate, Meg, we've talked about this a little bit on Catch Up as well, that there are also people calling to remove historical figures and statues because of racial injustices. Do you think that these moves are erasing history, or do you think that this is just a trailblazing moment to move forward?
I think it's really important that we learn history, we study it, so that we don't make the same mistakes in the future, that we continue to grow and change. And I think that is what Disney is trying to do, to continue to grow and change by changing this attraction. When you're watching an old film, you can add a disclaimer to the front that explains the historical context. With an attraction, that's harder to do. So I think changing it makes a lot of sense. And I think representation is important. So having Princess Tiana, Disney's first Black princess, represented in the parks is important. And I think the story in her movie about, perseverance and hard work and knowing what's truly important, that's an important lesson for kids to learn. So I think it's a good thing that will be featured in the parks.
Absolutely. Well, Meg, thanks so much for joining us on Catch Up today. You gave us some great insight on this new story. To stay up to date, please follow at Time for Catch Up on all of our socials. Thanks, Meg, for joining.
Thank you.
The suspected Golden State Killer, Joseph James DeAngelo, has pled guilty to numerous charges, including 13 counts of first-degree murder as of Monday. The 74-year-old pled guilty to 13 counts of first-degree murder as well as 13 counts of kidnapping. He also informally admitted to numerous other crimes, according to CNN. This plea means that the victims can give their impact statements starting August 17th, which is much quicker than if he had gone to trial in a prosecution, which the 6th District Attorney stated might have taken as long as a decade. Contra Costa County District Attorney Diana Beckton released a statement on Monday which said, "Today's court proceeding brings us one step closer to ending the horrific saga of Joseph DeAngelo and his decades-long crime spree. In this case, justice did not move swiftly. It was a long time coming. However, our victims remained steadfast and brave throughout this entire process. Today is about remembering all of the victims in this case and finally holding DeAngelo responsible for these crimes." This Golden State Killer has been known by many names over the years. He began as the Visalia ransacker with a string of burglaries, but as time went on, he became more and more violent. This violence ultimately led to a series of attacks near Sacramento, which police attributed to an East Area rapist. He then moved 300 miles south to the Santa Barbara area, which he haunted for years with a string of killings that dubbed him the original Night Stalker. DeAngelo has been terrorizing these communities since about 1975, and the victims of these horrific crimes and their families are finally watching as justice is served. Orange County District Attorney Todd Spitzer stated, "Today's plea will never bring the loved ones back or restore the sense of security that was shattered. But today, after 40 years of uncertainty, dozens of victims and a nation heard the person responsible for this reign of terror finally admit that he, and only he, is responsible." Pirates of the Caribbean fans, brace yourself. According to Refinery29, there will be a brand new film added to the series. Even better, Margot Robbie is said to be cast. According to The Hollywood Reporter, the untitled Disney project that is still in the early development stages will star Robbie as a unique hero on her very own journey across the treacherous seas. The story will be separate from the storyline known and loved by fans, as well as separate from Johnny Depp's character, the boozy and troublemaking Captain Jack Sparrow. The film is still very early on in the development process, so not much else is known about the film or the cast as of yet. But leave it to internet fans to get excited and begin making predictions. Film critic Christy Puccio tweeted earlier this week, "Yes, good. Who else should be in a female-fronted Pirates of the Caribbean? Tessa Thompson? Let's Dreamcast." This call for Dreamcasting was met with tons of responses, and a number of high-profile actresses came up, including Lupita Nyong'o, Gemma Chan, and Tessa Thompson. This Robbie-led film is not to be confused with the other Pirates of the Caribbean reboot announced late 2019, which will be an entirely different film. Many things about both films are still up in the air. One major thing being, will Johnny Depp return to the big screen as Jack Sparrow? This is still unsure due to controversies around the actor.
As NASA prepares to return to the moon, they're asking you for your help to go to the bathroom. Astronauts will have to learn to use the bathroom in microgravity and lunar gravity. While astronauts are in the cabin and out of their spacesuits, they will need a toilet that has all the same capabilities as the ones right here on planet Earth. NASA is taking submissions for novel design concepts for toilets that can operate in both microgravity and lunar gravity. Although space toilets already exist in Baxter. Although space toilets already exist and are in use at the International Space Station, they are designed for only microgravity. So we need that microgravity and we need that lunar gravity. So we need something that's small, more efficient, and capable of working in both. Winning includes $35,000 in prize winning. So get creative, put your thinking cap on, and submit your best design.
Thanks for catching up on today's news with us. I'm Kylie Thompson.
And I'm Madeline Cum. Please be sure to catch up with us again tomorrow.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts.
We appreciate you listening to Catch Up. For even more content, follow Catch Up Digital on social media. Just search for @TimeForCatchUp.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on any of the stories we covered today. Just use the hashtag #PassTheCatchup on social media.
Catch Up is an official production of Public House Media.